Hi, I'm Dustin Pickering. Welcome to New York Parrot Literary Corner, the best and only show of its kind. We're hosting Creative Minds. Today we have Antje Stehn. She is a excellent poet and wonderful person to speak with, and we'll let her talk a little bit about herself. If you'll introduce yourself a little bit to us, tell us a little bit about the organizations you belong to, and any awards you've won or been any merits and so forth, and maybe a little bit about some of your creative work.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me and thank you for talking with me. I'm Antje Stehn and I'm German, but I live in Italy for more than 30 years now. And I'm an artist, a visual artist, and a poet and a video maker. So I try to combine all kind of arts.
Mm-hmm.
And as organizations, I'm member of the German PEN organization, and in Italy, I'm part of a collective that's called Poetry is My Passion. This is an international collective with poets from different parts that live in Milan, and we try to organize the international community in Milan. And we centralize on the mother tongues. So people go and speak in the mother tongues and read their poems in the mother tongues. Then I'm doing different, let's say, artistic, poetic installations. This is the thing I did more in the last years. And this year, with the COVID epidemic, I did a project that is called Rucksack, a global poetry patchwork, which started very simply because I wanted to do something during this lockdown period, this isolation, and I collected the tea bags. No, if you don't go out, you start collecting everything you have in the house and you get a little bit obsessive about things. And then I had the idea, what can I do with these tea bags? I want to make a rucksack because it's a symbol of traveling, of free traveling, especially in my younger days. We all went around with big rucksacks and we went from one place to the other. So I asked my poet friends to contribute with collecting tea bags. Nobody had anything to do, and they went into it. Especially the Germans started collecting thousands of tea bags, and they asked them to send their poems along. And so, in the end, after just 2 months, I had 250 participants from 56 countries all over the world, which sent me their poems, their video, and the tea bags. And all this is exhibited in a very special place, which is the Piccolo Museo della Poesia, the little museum of poetry in Piacenza in Italy, which is the only museum dedicated to poetry in general, not to one poet, but to poetry. And it's open to all poets from all over the world. So this is my last project, which is still going on because the nice thing is being in the internet, lots of connections started. So people in Mexico invited us to read in Mexico. Other people, we were in India, in Bangladesh, in Boston, in New York, we were with George Wallace. So this thing is really connecting people. So this is my last big project, which I'm still taking ahead.
That sounds interesting. I'm curious, what was the process like for joining PEN Germany, and what does the organization offers you as a creative person?
The PEN, I just entered now because the funny thing in all this organization is I always wrote in Italian my poems because I lived in Italy and I had occasions. We had lots of readings, with my Poetry is My Passion organization. We made really lots of readings. And so I did my German reading, but I translated in Italian, of course. And this rucksack project, the Germans are not on Facebook because they're very critical about this American big organization. which controls us also.
Mm-hmm.
So just one German poet was there, and so I got connected to him, and somehow, so the thing started moving, and so he proposed me to the pen, and so it's a few months I'm in the pen. So we start our first project of the 20th of June is the Day of Refugees, the International Day for Refugees. And we
Mm-hmm.
do an event in Ireland where we invite several rucksack participants who are refugees, a Tibetan and one from Hazare, which is a minority, Christian minority in Afghanistan, which is persecuted.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody who participates in this event invites other poets from other refugee poets. So these things are very interesting.
Right. It sounds extremely exciting, and it's like it's bringing people together and sort of like in a way socially getting involved and raising awareness to certain issues of political and social issues that are out there right now. There's so many crises. It's not even funny. I mean,
Yeah.
as humanity, we're going through quite a bit. So I'm curious, like, how is, the COVID and all of the conflict in the world, how is that affecting you creatively as a writer and a performance, poet?
Yeah, me personally, somehow I grew in this big crisis after the first shock, of course. For the first months, I was really under depression because here in Italy, the lockdown was really serious. You couldn't go out without a permission written. It was like dictatorship. And you got really scared. But then I started this thing with the rucksack, and I got connected through internet. I never did this before. And I discovered a new way of connecting. And now I feel so well because I can use my languages. I have these relationships that are constant. It's not just relationship when it disappears. So for me personally, I learned a lot in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's a terrible moment for everybody, and we lost lots of friends also. But let's say there are the two sides. The society is changing completely, and if you're inside this process, it's also very interesting, I think.
I think so too. I think we're experiencing quite a bit of radical and drastic change that's going on in society, and a lot of it is related to the climate issues and the social and political issues going on. The whole thing just imploded. The whole system imploded worldwide, and then COVID came along and just sort of ushered us into a new era in a way. So as a poet, what about language fascinates you the most? And also as a person who's sort of like a polyglot, what is about language that fascinates you?
It's so great that every language has its specialty. So there are words in German that you can't translate into Italian. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not just the words you can't translate, even the way of living you can't translate. For example, in German, we have this word, sich freuen auf means looking forward to. But it's something different because looking forward to, you can say, I'm looking forward to, I'm looking backwards to, no? So it's a look, has to do with the eyes. Sich freuen auf in German is a joy you have for something that is going to happen, but it's still far away. No, it's like a utopia. You are looking forward to something which is in utopia. Once you reach the utopia, you have to have another utopia. But this is
Mm-hmm.
a concept which is in myself, and it's my way of going into the future, also with this big crisis. No, and but this word, for example, in Latin languages, it doesn't exist.
Hmm. Do you have any ideas why there's so many different? I guess it would be psychological as well as social. Why people would communicate so differently and drastically, the way they perceive things and the way they condition themselves with language. What do you think of that?
yeah, language forms our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Our thoughts are made of the words we can use. So I have one poem here, which is called Mishmash. It's in
Mm-hmm.
English. It's a German word. Mishmash means mixing up things, no?
Mm-hmm.
Like with a mixer. And this word, I saw it exists in English, a little bit written differently, but it's these kind of words that travel. I'm sure it came with the Jewish refugees to America because they brought lots of words in other countries. And this is wonderful. No, words enter in new languages and do something new, new contexts. I
Mm-hmm.
love this thing. I mean, I don't want that we all speak the same language, but we have to contaminate each other and we have to learn from each other. It's so interesting. So I speak about 4 languages, 3 quite well, and for 2 others not so well, but it's so fascinating because through language, you come to people.
Right. I think that's very true. And people are very different. Various cultures are different in the way they relate to the phenomena of life, I think. Um, so if you want to read a poem or two for us, we have time for that.
Yes. I wanted to read you a poem that is called Zebroid. Zebroids are the offsprings, it's a cross between zebra and horse.
Hmm.
Zebra is an animal that is completely wild. Humans couldn't never dominate it. And the horse is the opposite. It's from the beginning from human civilization. This animal was domesticated and helped the humans also to develop. No? So this contrast between wild and civilization is one of my subjects
Mm-hmm.
because what is in between the wild and the cultivation, for example, the forest and the garden, there is a fence, but this fence is a territory. You can go through these. There's no real border. We see it with a virus, which probably comes from nature because the human beings invade natural parts that has never been touched by human beings. So this poem is a little bit, it's about this.
Okay.
Zebroids and the dormition of the mother god. They really do exist. Horse in front, zebra in the back. Not one nor the other. Like the sea shore, like heterologous expressions. Behind the geometric walls of an ancient monastery, the Mother of God, dressed with sun and moon, reposes in a deep, eternal sleep. Neither death, not alive. Such is poetry, the intersection of 2 lines that circle the world, then cross again, one instant and eternity locked together in one single place.
That's an interesting metaphor. One question I was going to ask, I think is good for this, with this poem is what has working cross culturally taught you about art and poetry?
What? I didn't get this.
What has working cross culturally taught you about art and poetry?
What is putting it together? I mean, I'm expressing myself also through music, through art. I'm working with my art installations are made with blow balls. I don't know if you know what are blow balls. No, there's flowers, yellow flowers. They make these seeds, and when you make, they all flow around.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I do sculptures like this that are very, very ephemeral. No,
Mm-hmm.
although I prepare them, they are not. Or with spines of trees, or I work with a blown out eggs. I made egg dress. So I work with special natural material, which is very ephemeral, like words, no?
Mm-hmm.
Poems you hear them, they enter or they don't enter, and then they are gone if you don't buy the book. But in general, it's audio, no? So it's also very ephemeral, like music, no? You get it in that moment. So what I think is very interesting, that you can express the ideas in different languages. Like we speak different languages, you can express your ideas in different artistic languages, but every language has its special possibilities. So sometimes I do sculptures and I write poems for these sculptures.
That's interesting. I like the fact that the different languages and different approaches, teach. It's like there are different ways of communicating, but there's certain kinds of commonalities in them, and I think that's really fascinating. And in the process of you came from Germany to Italy, I'm curious, like what was it about Italy that attracted you? And is Italy different when it comes to the poetry circles and the readings and the literary events than Germany is?
Yes, there's a very big difference because there are these Alps in between. And so already historically, all the Germans dreamt of the warm south where people are relaxed. And this, of course, is a big prejudice. But some is also true, as in most of the prejudice. So for me, I'm from the north of Germany, which is even really strict from Protestant background, religion, Lutheran background, so very strict. Although we were free, but these things are in your head from centuries before. No, you can't. Religion formed our characters, although maybe we are artists, we still have this imprinting. And so in Italy, for me, coming here, this was fascinating because people are so spontaneous and completely different and also open. For example, with my art, when I started painting, I did abstract painting. And in Germany, if somebody doesn't understand abstract painting, he doesn't even look at it. He said, I cannot understand. In Italy, people that maybe don't have any knowledge, they were very simple people, they start looking at the painting and suddenly they see something. I think this is wonderful. And what regards poetry, for example, in Italy, everybody knows poems by heart. The old people continue say poems and recite, and they love them. They identify. And I think in Italy, I think one of two persons write poems. So it's a very poetic country. And Germany, it's more elite. So if you say you're a poet, then what? What is this? Is a sickness or what?
It's a little bit similar in America to a certain degree, especially I think here in Texas where I'm at. Yeah, it's very strange sometimes to I'm in Houston specifically, so there's a lot of academic community here, but University of Houston and St. Thomas and all kinds of universities, but in Texas generally, except in maybe Austin and some of the metropolitan areas, it's very strange to be artistic. It's
exactly.
very when you describe the way you describe German, Germans, it's sort of like the same thing with a lot of Texans. They'll look at a piece of art and they'll be like, "What is that?"
Yes, yeah, they always think. And this is a prejudice now. It's not all Germans are like this because I made lots of exhibitions in Germany. Principally, I made my exhibitions in Germany. So, but let's say lots of people I know still, no, they are very rigid, no, oh yes or no, and exactly what I was talking about before, this Zebroid, which is not yes or no, it's both, no, and it's an openness, no, because it's like a threshold. We are not inside the room and we are not outside. We are on the threshold, and I think life is always on a threshold. So it's interesting, no, that you have both directions for you to go.
Right. I think, and I always believe that each kind of person has their own merits and demerits of sorts. And so you have people like that, and maybe they're very hardworking. They're not as interested in the arts, but they're really hardworking. They are, they're all about earning money, and they're contributing to society in that way with their working. That's, I think that's their merit. Sometimes their merits, or there's sometimes it's good to be a little stodgy and certain context, I think. But interesting that there's so many commonalities between certain kinds of people in Germany and some in Texas, all the way out here. And, it's a very interesting comparison. I mean, I think those kinds of people are universal, though, and the artistic people are also universal. And in a lot of cultures, we shake things up. That's what we do, and we like to make people contemplate and think.
Exactly.
And as you said, existing on the sort of liminal bound of what is and what isn't, and the being and non-being, and trying to sort of confound the barriers and play with the possibilities of life and learn as much as possible. I think that's really the artistic occupation. So
it's a path. Exactly.
So I'm curious. Where do you see yourself in, artistically in 5 years, as far as, what do you think you'll be doing, or do you think you'll still be in Italy doing stuff?
I have so many ideas, and I have already a new project for, I think it's in 4 years, that Michelangelo, there's I don't know, 500 years of death or birth, I don't remember. And we want to make a big installation about earth and air in this little museum of poetry, because this museum is in an old deconsecrated, a church that is not working anymore, with wonderful dome. And there we want to do this, we just decided last week. So plans going ahead. So I don't know what's happening in 5 years. We don't know where the world will be. I mean, we can expect everything. We are in a...
Right. Gotta be kind of a little loose, let things flow into life, flow into you. You never know. I'm just curious what you have planned and what you're thinking about doing. And it sounds interesting what you have some new installations. I'm curious, where did you first come up with these ideas of doing like poetic artistic performances?
It came, I think, with my collective. Now in this collective, we are one Cuban woman, one Afro-American woman living in Milan, Betty Gilmore, and me. So we are 3 really different mentalities. And Ana Pedrosa from Cuba, she is always pushing. She says, let's put together here. She's so spontaneous. So she, I think she was the first who said, let's do a performance, music, poetry, art, and dance. So 2 years ago, I did the curation. We organized this wonderful thing with 6 women from 6 different countries, with 6 different means of expression in this museum, ethnic museum in Milan. So,
interesting. Do you have another poem you'd like to share with us?
Yes. Okay, let's speak about the ecological crisis, which is the next to face. This is a little bit more like a slam, because there was a period that I made a poetry slam in Milan. So it's a little bit more moved. The Great Zone. I have to say, the Great Zone is a concept that is means the zone where people are who know what's going on, but they stay with the situation. This is a great zone as a concept. Gray cats move slowly, sinuous bodies tied together, the head of one attached to the neck of the other. They rub each other like mal-tuned radios with the hum of a solid purr. And when they ask you, what have you seen in the great zone? Prosperity and a homogeneous mass without delineation in abundance. In the sky, a gray wall devours the city. A tornado swallows up winter, too hot to dry. Tender blades of grass, after seeing the light, turn senile, white. And when they ask you, what have you seen in the great zone? Prosperity and the belief in a special right to exist, pollute, intoxicate, manipulate. You are beautiful, earthworm, hermaphrodite, without head or tail, stirring the hot humus. You are beautiful and you know it. You are beautiful, mayfly, transparent livery, slamming over and over on turbid windows. You are beautiful for what's just one day, and you know it. A rose is a rose is a rose. Thanks, Gertrude Stein. A life is a life is a life. This is about the ecologic disaster.
Thank you. That's very interesting. And I love the way you play conceptually with, you have this naming process going on with the zone and there's some of the imagery and the stuff in there is really interesting, and I think it's captivating. So thank you for sharing that. I think it's strange, speaking of the ecology and the all that's going on right now with COVID. I mean, it's funny that I would say this, like, I hadn't seen mosquitoes in like so long, and yet when this COVID happened and people started sort of hunkering down and not doing as much activity outside, I started seeing mosquitoes pop up again. And I thought that was kind of strange. I was like, I haven't seen these little guys in like forever, it's like they're running around now and they're everywhere. I guess it's been raining more or something. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen them in so many years. I haven't seen that many mosquitoes around. And suddenly they're just cropping up everywhere.
It's a disaster. The dying out of insects. Before on the car screen, you always had all these dead insects. You don't have it anymore in Europe.
Yeah, I heard about the bees. A lot of bees were, being extinct, and just everything. All the insects. So definitely, they were talking about the insect apocalypse for a while there.
Yeah.
I think maybe this crisis has its sort of pluses and minuses. I mean, obviously, we're very frustrated inside our homes, and but we're cutting down a little bit on the activity that we're doing that's causing so many disturbances in the ecology. So I think that's a plus, definitely. So so you say in Italy, it's very strange, because we don't, I mean, like in Texas, they've relaxed us quite a bit for the orders. I mean, they're even relaxing the mask order for the most part, except certain businesses say, we will require a mask for you to shop here. So how are the restrictions there still going on?
No, now we are opening up, but we had this third wave. So 1 year ago, Italy was the first country after China where we had really bad situations in Bergamo. I don't know if you saw this in the beginning. This was really, and we were under lockdown, under strict lockdown for 3 months. That means if you go out without a justification, they could give you a big fine. So this was very bad. Then we were opened up for the summer. Then in autumn came the second wave, but then they made a lockdown, like in Germany. In Germany, the first lockdown was like the second here. So it was easier going, but the Germans flipped out. They couldn't accept it. They didn't want to wear masks. They were really, they couldn't accept that the freedom was limited. And then, so it's going up and down. Then we had the third wave, and now with the vaccine, I hope at least for a bit we get out of it. But now it's relaxing. In this moment, it's relaxed.
I heard that there was quite a wave that hit Italy originally when COVID first struck. It was pretty bad with Italians. I don't remember all the details of that, but I do remember Italy was hit really hard before America, and then we started seeing New York get hit really bad, and then
exactly.
it came to Texas, and then it just kind of you never know what's going to happen. Now that India's got some
And
serious
now
issues
it's in
with it.
India. India
Yeah.
is really, really bad, stricken. Yeah, and it's funny because you can just understand if you're inside, no? When this lockdown was here, my relatives in Germany, they couldn't understand what's going on with you, with your head, because you get in a complete different psyche state. And when they were under lockdown, they said, "I finally understand what happened to us, to me," no? Because on the phone, I couldn't talk to them anymore. It was very strange.
Hmm. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of changes psychologically going on with people. I think, that's one thing I was really worried about was the fact that people can't really work the way that we used to. At least in America, we haven't been able to. A lot of people haven't been able to return to work or to make money, and so then you have people that can't pay their bills, and then you have to worry about people that are disenfranchised, especially poor people who are not able to take care of themselves. And it's really sad that there's so much of this going on, and there's not really much that is being done. They throw a few checks at us and they say, okay, there you go, you're done, and it's like, it's not really helpful. I hate to condemn the US government, but that's not very helpful. Some people that are struggling constantly struggled before COVID, you know
Yes.
so it's
Mm.
really tough. I mean, it's been really tough on a lot of people, I think. So when this starts to relax, what do you have planned for to get out and do as far as getting involved back into community and artistic activities?
Yes, we already start now. I mean,
Hmm?
this week the people start the first live things. So in 1 week, 2 weeks, I will go to Piacenza. We have another inauguration because I'm also in the artistic direction of the museum. So if they have an exhibition, I have to put it up. So no, things. The thing is, I don't believe it will be for long because we
Hmm?
don't know. We already know how it was last year, so I'm prepared to open up, do my things, but I'm also prepared to be back home because I have so much to do. For me now,
Right.
it's not so much a difference. Also because I do teaching, and I can teach online and I can teach in the school. It was quite well organized, no? So some weeks at school, then some weeks at home. It worked. It worked
Hmm.
somehow.
Yeah, I think you have to make do if you're going to live. You have to figure out and navigate any kind of situation it's difficult. It's right now. It's very difficult for people, but a lot of us are just handing in and just going at it. Just continuing our lives, and I think it's all we can really do, and we don't know what to expect. Still, I mean, we're still waiting to see when this is over, and hopefully it'll be soon. I mean, that's all we can
Yeah.
say. So, do you have any words to impart to our viewers, or artists out there who are looking to make their way into the art world? Anything, advice you want to give them? Say words of encouragement.
Yeah, I think everybody has a creativity in himself or herself. So we are all creative persons. Some people tear it out and decide to be an artist, but also the people that don't decide to be an artist can do artistic things, but not for the others, for yourself, because being in art, in poetry, is a way of living. And it's giving you so much energy and it gives you so much to
Mm-hmm.
do it that I would just recommend everybody go into write down something, start writing, start doing something with your hands, start singing, do whatever you want, but do something with yourself and
Very
you will
healing.
feel better.
It can be very healing and relaxing. It's not just about making a point or expressing the political circumstances. It's also a very therapeutic thing. You can tell you about your life story, or express something in your heart that's been troubling you, or even just if you feel a lot of joy, you can just sing a nice joyful song and uplift other people. So is there any other fellow artists or people that have influenced and encouraged you that you'd like to say thank you to while we have a few more minutes on the program?
to say thank you to another artist?
Yeah, if you want to say thank you, or just give it like a little hello out there to people who have influenced you. Or
I want to say thank you to all the participants of my rucksack, because it's like a big family now. And
excellent.
I feel so well. Yeah, it makes me feel well, and the people also, they are connected. It's a good thing.
It's wonderful. I think it's great what you're doing there. It's bringing people together and giving positive energies out there and helping grow community. And you know, who knows what's going to happen after this all this calms down with with your group and with the rucksack group. You know, you guys may probably still stay in touch and keep doing things together. So that's really great.
Yes. I already stay in touch, because we don't are all together 250. We always invite 8 poets to each meeting, and so. But there are poets that are also doing the same thing, connecting, being critical, also with the community, connecting. So these people already worked also in the internet before. I mean, I'm a newcomer, but these people, they already did networking before the COVID thing, international networking.
Right. Absolutely. It's what we got to do to live. Is we have to be around each other. We have to be interacting. We're very social, a very social animal, people are. So it's good that we're still finding ways to connect. If it wasn't for the internet, where would we be?
Yes.
So I'm gonna go ahead and close the show. It's been wonderful talking with you. It's I very much appreciate your discussing your art and your community and your thoughts on these various crises we're facing and everything we discussed. It's been wonderful talking with you. So thank you again for joining us on the program. And thanks to our viewers, we're the only and the best show daily offering the community out there at large, the creative community, a platform daily for you to speak your mind, tell us about your creative process, and talk about what kind of artistic endeavors you're pursuing. So get in touch with us at Literary Corner at newyorkparrot.com. And we're doing donations at paypal.me/nyparrot to help improve our outlook here, our programming, and our various capacities like live streaming and so forth. So if anybody has anything to spare, feel free to shoot it to us through PayPal at that address. And thanks to our viewers, we're looking for 1 million subscribers. So please subscribe, tell people about us, get the word out there, look for people who want to join us on the program, and just anything you want to, platform for artistic and creative minds, we're looking for you. And we're here, and this is a free service. This is a wonderful place to be. And thank you again for joining us, Antje. We're very happy to have had you, and thanks to our viewers as well. So this has been an excellent afternoon with the New York Parrot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dustin, for this interview. It was great talking to you and being in Texas.
You too. Thank you.